Compassion is unique and even rare when seen in thought, emotion and action all at once. It is a disposition only a few are blessed with, but thousands benefit from it. Dr. Keki Gharda, an outstanding chemical engineer, scientist and entrepreneur. Born to the Parsi Dastur family. On 25th September 1929 in Mumbai, he was the seventh and the youngest child born to Hormuzji and Ratanbai. Sadly, only two of his sisters survived. Keki received all the love and affection from his family, especially his mother. Educated up to matriculate, was a voracious reader and instilled a high moral nurture and a strong sense of ethics in her son's early years.
My mother used to say to me, and she said it not once, maybe about 20 times as I was growing up. My name is Keki. So Keki, it is your duty to make as much money as you can honestly. But you have to die poor. Meaning that you have to give it away. It's not yours. You have taken it from society, honestly, no doubt, but you have to return it to society.
Keki moved to Bandra from Gowalia Tank and started his formal education in a Jesuit school, St. Stanislaus. He then joined Elphinstone College and graduated in chemistry and physics from the Royal Institute of Science, Mumbai in the year 1948. He then went on to obtain his BSc Tech degree in Chemical Engineering from the University of Mumbai, Department of Chemical Technology in 1950.
In the lab, he used to run pilot experiments. I have seen him running experiments in UDCT lab because I was doing experiments same time. So I know his skills and I learned from it.
From the University of Michigan, Ann Arbor in 1951.
I went to University of Michigan and I passed about 5 years there. I got my master's, I got my PhD, and I think that took a little longer than usual, primarily because I was my professor's assistant also. So whenever he didn't come for some reason or other, I used to give his lectures to the lower classes. And I enjoyed my life.
And travelled to complete his master's program, followed by a PhD degree in chemical engineering in 1957 from the University of Oklahoma, Norman, Oklahoma, where he taught process chemistry for 2 years.
But after I had left, some of the students had not yet completed their PhD in organic chemistry or chemistry. And one of the students told his professor that I would like to do it this way. He says, no, do it this way. He says that Keki Gharda had advised me before he left to do it the way I am telling you. If Keki Gharda told you, I'll have to think about it. That was the type of reputation I had. The professor himself would worry how to contradict me. Tomorrow, I didn't have a degree in chemistry there. So I'm very good at organic chemistry and industrial chemistry in general. I use chemical engineering to make things happen.
During this period, he received a message from his mother about his father's ill health, which brought him back to India. On his arrival, and a few days later, His father Hormuzji passed away and his mother requested young Keki to stay back, which he could not refuse. He soon followed his passion, teaching, and joined his alma mater, UDCT, as a visiting faculty, while parallelly offering consulting services to the chemical industry. The monetary payoffs were meager. But with his alma mater UDCT failing to offer him a permanent job, his entrepreneurial ambitions started to take shape. He started manufacturing various reagents and selling them to colleges around Mumbai. Around this time, he met Aban Mehta, a student of sociology at Elphinstone College. He married this daughter of a professor of French and a doctorate in sociology on 26th January 1962. With his brother-in-law Ratan Gawas Manek in tow and his mother's support, Keki decided to go full steam into business and follow an entrepreneurial dream. He established Gharda Chemicals in 1964.
Finally, we gathered together about 2 lakhs of rupees among the family. I had brought back about 50,000 rupees from America. We had an old house here. My mother was still alive at that time and she used to keep me, and I had no household expenses. She had some independent income from my father, shares and this and that. And I was here, and finally in 1963 started Gharda Chemicals with about 2 lakhs of capital. 40,000 was mine. My mother also had some money. She put in 30,000. Another sister put in another 30,000. And my youngest sister had been married for a longer time. Her husband was fairly well off, so he put in 1 lakh of rupees. So together we managed to scrape up 2 lakhs of rupees and started Gharda Chemicals.
In a small shed at a slum at Santa Cruz, Mumbai. The shed housed the research and development laboratory, the manufacturing plant, as well as the administrative office.
A hut with a leaky roof in a Bombay slum. That's the beginnings of Gharda Chemicals, which today sells more than $500 million of products around the world. 2/3 of the products are sold outside of India in competition with all of the major chemical companies of the world. Started from that hut with the leaky roof in a Bombay slum. That's an immense achievement to have done that. So that's my perspective on the contribution that Keki Gharda has made. So now you have this major company which employs a very large number of people, a large number of plants. He's very scrupulous about the procedures which he uses. He never violates any laws, and he does things that are not even required to be done by law, but he does them because of a very high sense of morality.
To his support were untrained help from the nearby localities of Bandra and Santa Cruz. The Indian textile industry then needed a dye called Halogen Brilliant Blue, a product of Bayer. It could only be imported, and needless to say, at a high price. Dr. Gharda sensed the need and developed the product in-house, manufacturing it with superior quality at a much cheaper price. Known for years as German Blue, the product eventually came to be called as Gharda Blue.
I don't merely order my people what to do. I tell them why I am telling you this. I give them the whole background of my thinking, starting from knowledge from the market. You have to make products which somebody would buy also, isn't it? And also, if not buy, you have to create a market for it. So if it's already there, then life is a little easier. you become the most efficient producer amongst all the other producers. So if the market is there, then you want to take out a bit of other people's market. See. Or by making a good product cheaper, you will create an expanded market. The market will grow also. A good product at a cheaper price, the market will grow.
A small group of inexperienced workmen as a team, a true self-believer, Dr. Gharda led and motivated them, and this feat was accomplished. During all this while, Dr. Gharda continued to visit the library of UDCT and sit there till late hours to enrich his knowledge, which he believed will be the only factor for success, apart from courage and luck.
As a regular visitor to library, every day he would come up to 5 o'clock and stay in the library at 8:30, and all the library personnel will wait for him to pack up, and he would be the last reader in the library, voracious reader.
With this background, Dr. Gharda decided to give an opportunity to the bright talent of UDCT, the students of chemical engineering, with a helping hand extended by Professor M.M. Sharma.
He is an unusual combination, what I call in English uncanny combination, real uncanny combination of a good chemist, excellent chemist at that, very good chemical engineer, very good business sense, and excellent at conceiving the design and executing the project and even run it. See, in the beginning, he was the sole person under conditions under which he started his company. We used to work at night and all. That showed his grit. So he is an unusual combination, and I have not encountered any similar person in India in chemical industry, I can tell you.
In 1967, Gharda Chemicals was converted into Gharda Chemicals Private Limited, which later on transformed into Gharda Chemicals Limited in 1988. In 1969, Gharda looked around to build his first factory and zeroed in on Dombivli near Mumbai.
The first move from his, garage, backyard operations to when he had first bought the plot in Dombivli and was planning to put up the factory there. And Dombivli was absolutely sort of like a remote farming land with horrible kacha road and three of us in the car. It went over a big stone in the road and the oil pan got punctured, and that whole story, half a day going and trying to deal with the car. But I remember Dombivli, that's the first memory I have. That was a really remote and tough road.
In 1971, the plant was commissioned to manufacture halogen brilliant blue and benzidine hydrochloride. The plant then went on to house the departments of research and development, design, engineering and quality assurance. The company then commissioned a state-of-the-art pilot plant facility with equipments capable of investigating the kinetics and thermodynamics of high-temperature gas phase reactions. Dr. Gharda was elected a Fellow of the Indian Institute of Sciences in 1976 in the field of process engineering. In 1981, Dr. Gharda was invited to the Monopolies and Restrictive Trade Practices Commission as an observer. After hearing the farmers and the multinationals, he stood up and challenged them that he would manufacture the same product with a different and safer process. Gharda ventured into agrochemicals from dyestuff and moved on to manufacture isoproteron wheat herbicide.
Dyes is not an area by which he will contribute to move into agrochemicals. At that time, I was involved in the government's Apex committee to plan agrochemicals for the country for future. So then we discussed and I said, you better get into pyrethroids and all. So Gujarat Insecticide was formed in cooperation with Gujarat Agro. It is now wholly owned subsidiary of Gharda Chemical. So from Gharda's side, Keki Gharda and myself were on the board of that company. And that board had the managing director of Gujarat Agro plus one more person they would nominate. Whether it's chairman of the Gujarat Agro or managing director, that was their responsibility. So Gharda named me. So I went for the inauguration. Ankleshwar was quite backward. A lot of farmers came in bullock cart at that time.
In 1982, he joined hands with the government of Gujarat to form a joint stock company called Gujarat Insecticides Limited to manufacture synthetic pyrethroids. GIL, a joint sector company started in 1980 by GCL in association with the Gujarat government, which earlier owned Gujarat Agro Industries Corporation Limited, is now a 100% fully owned subsidiary of GCL. Today, GCL is the largest agrochemical manufacturer and exporter in India. As the business started growing, Gharda found his next piece of land in Ratnagiri district and started construction in 1988. The plant at Lote Parshuram, which was commissioned in 1989, has facilities for scale-up kinetic study and manufacturing of new products. The Lote unit is the first company worldwide to engage in large-scale production of annulophos, the rice weedside, chloropyrifos, dicamba and others. Large numbers of scientists are involved in research programs towards the research of polymers and agro products. In 1997, Gharda diversified into polymers and started the polymer plant in Panoli, which manufactures specialty polymers like polyether ether ketone and polyether sulfones. Two core technologies for the manufacture of polymer solution and emulsion polymerization have been developed by GCL. GCL has been awarded thrice for the technology development of polymers, PES and PEEK at this plant to enable it to produce a series of basic polymer resins.
He was the only industrialist who was paying 4 to 6% of his gross profit distributing to the employees as bonus. And that amount was that time as well as even now coming to the highest amount of Diwali bonus in India. Some of the workers were getting, my workers, 70,000-80,000 rupees each year as bonus. So that is one significant thing, and that is why probably he was always saying that I am here to look after my workers and I don't want unions. So, I mean, both the sides were there. And then he is also having a lot of charitable activities, because I find him to be simple living and selfless man. I think he has invested almost all his earnings from the factory in the expansion of his factory. And then one engineering college at Lote, another technical institution at Dombivli, a big R&D section, and so on. So as he claims, he has never accumulated any wealth. He has always put it back in the factory, which is another unique thing for an industrialist, I find.
And he would run his plant a few months with the machinery arranged this way to make this product, and then he would rearrange. I mean, the machinery would stay the same, but the piping the sequence in which the equipment was used, he would just switch around brilliantly. He was so fast off the ground with anything he wanted to do because of this, because he would think modular. So he wouldn't set up a plant just that it has to do this, and then if the market changes or the product changes, what will you do? He could really switch around between his chemical engineering modules within the factory.
Well, I think there is only one Dr. Keki Gharda that I have seen in the world. I think he's so unique. It's absolutely incredible. He is a true innovator. There is a very good definition of an innovator. Innovator is one who does not know it cannot be done. That fits in perfectly with Dr. Gharda. There is nothing impossible for him. He will create the most audacious dreams and make them happen. Innovator is also one who sees what everybody else sees, but thinks of what nobody else thinks. Dr. Keki Gharda is exactly that. Despite known steps in a chemical synthesis, many known steps, how creatively you combine them by seeing what the others are not seeing and creating a breakthrough, he is marvelous at that. That's number one.
Gharda Chemicals is today a research-based company. Around 100 scientists exclusively working in R&D, with all products originating from indigenous research work. With manufacturing units at Dombivli, Lote Parshuram in Maharashtra, Panoli, Ankleshwar at Gujarat, and a formulation plant in Samba, Jammu. GCL has established itself as a major force not only in pesticides but also in the field of polymers, veterinary drugs and other intermediate chemicals.
He is an innovator par excellence. He keeps on thinking about new ideas, and he would every time you talk to him after an interval of 6 months or 8 months, he would actually talk to you about some new ideas, and of course he is kind of constantly pursuing old ideas towards translation and also refining those ideas towards greater perfection.
Dr. Gharda then promoted Gharda Scientific Research Foundation, a non-profit research organization where he started conducting studies on various basic technologies.
GSRF is a Section 25 not-for-profit company whose objectives are to do scientific research and development of technology, and further, the more essential part is to implement small to medium-sized plants so that the technologies can and may be licensed or sold to larger business groups, either in the business or may be persuaded to enter the business.
He started to study and develop technologies in the field of metallurgy.
I am also happy to know about the founder of Gharda Scientific Research Foundation, Dr. Keki Gharda, who is in front of us, who is a scientist, entrepreneur, philanthropist, and a researcher who has made contribution to the green revolution and the agriculture industry.
He also took interest and started to study the elimination and recycling of various effluents in the erstwhile aluminium process. The processes also focus on energy efficiency in comparison with the present processes.
In aluminium industry, there is a solid waste after recovering aluminium, and it is called red mud. It looks red and it is looks like a mud also, and therefore it is called red mud. And it has titanium up to 7%, very good quality iron as well as aluminium. And there are more than 3 billions of such mud available in the world. And if we recover titanium from this red mud, only from India if we recover, then the titanium recovered will be sufficient for the entire world for more than 50 years. So his thought process is, so much raw material is abundantly available either in the form of sand and the red mud, and red mud has been a load on the society. It is a big pollution source. So he wants to convert such a pollution source, and which is a heavy burden on the society, in the form of a wealth. The unit operations and unit processes which are required for converting either red mud or sand into titanium, these are very complex. These happen at very high temperatures. Materials of construction required are exotic, and the understanding of those processes and understanding of hydrodynamics within those equipment, it is very difficult, and he has been able to do that, and his technology will soon see light of the day.
Earn a lot very honestly, live economically, and spend generously for the community around, especially the underprivileged. Bhai Ratanbai Gharda is the inspiration behind the formation of the Gharda Foundation.
What is one thing that started this company? The one thing that started this company is research and knowledge. It is the ability of Dr. Gharda's knowledge and research to implement and employ the technology and create wealth. Now, when this wealth does not go into the pocket of the promoter and it has to be distributed among society, whether it is me who's working for him or anybody else would feel fortunate to have been working with him. Because neither are we talking about substandard goods, we are talking about world-class products, but at the same time we are also trying to serve society.
The foundation is relentlessly active in helping the needy individuals. As also the economically weak educational institutes with donations, food, healthcare, and much more. The foundation runs charitable hospitals, one at Dombivli and the other at Lote in Ratnagiri district.
But still at the back of the mind, I always used to feel, no, Dr. Gharda has something else in mind. And he is just waiting for a person whom he can trust to take over, so that he is ready to fund that too. So one day when we were discussing, he was suggesting me, Dr. Gokhale, let us have a good hospital setup at Lote because people need it. As Gharda hospital is very small, catering services to say 15-20 people. Let us have a good big hospital. At that time, I just came out my mouth. Let's see, Dr. Gharda, you are a businessman, you are a scientist, you are an engineer, you are an entrepreneur, and world-class engineer, world-class scientist. The whole world community salutes you as far as this is concerned. So why not to have an engineering college, maybe chemical technology, maybe other disciplines also, so that one day we can dream that yes, every 3 years, every 5 years, this college is producing one Dr. Gharda, who will have the same philosophy of thinking, who will have the same passion for chemistry, who will be capable of establishing one industry and giving employment to 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 families who will be more self-dependent, reliant, who will dream of making India self-reliant. And not only that, he will be also believing in your principles that you do service, but you first produce money and use money for research as well as for the contribution to the society.
Gharda Institute of Technology is an outcome of Dr. Gharda's generosity in the field of education, establishing an engineering college with an objective of quality education at affordable cost. Located in Lavil, a small village in Ratnagiri, the institute has 5 disciplines like chemical, mechanical, civil, electronics and telecommunications, and computer science. It is approved by AICTE, recognized by DTE, and is affiliated to the University of Mumbai.
Good morning, Gharda.
The story started in 1964. With a handful of spirited people. Now, a family of more than 3,000 dedicated individuals with a turnover of 300 million. Including an export of 180 million, based purely on indigenous technology developed by Dr. Gharda himself. The R&D budget is 3% of the total sales. Dr. Keki Gharda truly is a rare combination of an organic chemist, chemical engineer, entrepreneur, philanthropist, and a proud Indian.
Dr. Gharda is a very unique individual with his own personality, so as to say. Okay, the rest of the world believes in some standard models, certain standard behaviors, standard way of working. He doesn't believe in that. He has his own Gharda way of doing things, and I think we should continue to sort of admire him for what he has accomplished by doing that. You know, you don't move from 2 lakh to 1,000 crore. You don't give run for money to multinationals. You don't shake the chemical industry unless you have something special about it. So let him continue in the way that he has continued. I would say we should admire and respect him for his very individual personality. There is only one Keki Gharda that India has produced.
I think Dr. Gharda is Dr. Gharda. And that says it all according to me. Dr. Gharda is just not a name. Dr. Gharda is what everyone should be.
Dr. Mrs. Aban Gharda, functioning silently at the backstage, plays a brilliant and indispensable role.
He is more current on the other affair. But they have a very, very strong discussion possibility when they meet every day. And this discussion breaks the stress point which is there, you know, which Dr. Gharda probably faced during his work life. And I think that is the soothing effect in that relationship which really pushes Dr. Gharda to look forward to achieving more.
Yes, Dr. Mrs. Gharda is a very interesting person. She is a highly educated person. She has a PhD from Bombay University in, I think, sociology. And she is of her own choice a housewife. I have told her for years we have been rich enough to afford a cook or a housekeeper or whatever.
You should look upon the dignity of labor. Whatever you work, you should not consider it lowering your dignity unless you do something dishonestly.
So personally I think that she's one of the very strong pillars in Dr. Gharda's life. And she's been very, very, she's not a demanding woman. Her demands are, when I think about it, it's very difficult. I mean, at 82, 83, even today, she doesn't even want a servant at home. She wants to cook herself. She wants to do things on her own. So she is virtually living the life that Dr. Gharda is thinking of as well.
Instinctively, I liked her. I liked her primarily because I instinctively felt she is a good person. She was quite pretty also. But to me, prettiness is transitory. Someday or other you'll get old. But goodness generally remains. So, I have always told her that I consider you a good person, a nice person, and to be strictly honest, you are in that category a better person than I am.
He is a very nice, kind-hearted person. He is very jovial also. He has a joke for everything. Whatever you talk to him about, he'll come out with a joke. And he's very caring also. When I was ill for even a couple of days, he took me to a hospital, put me there.
I believe that although Bhakti Yoga is prized very highly, I believe that it is selfish. What does it do good for humanity? You have developed a one-to-one relationship between yourself and a God or a God. Whereas I believe that it is more useful to acquire knowledge and then put it to use. And the obvious terms for that is Jnana Yoga, to acquire knowledge, not of spiritual matters, of practical matters, and put it to use, and that is Karma Yoga.
Varied hues of success and failure, knowledge, karma, devotion, struggle, generosity, leadership, morality, and responsibility color the world. Rarely though, few fortunate souls have all of these hues coloring their lives, persistently and in abundance. These special ones are looked at with a unique sensitivity, admiration, and amazement as to what super chemical they turn out to be.